Twitch presents our next big thing. Something long promised, but never delivered. Getting paid for using Twitter. For how many long years have you toiled for free on this God-forsaken site? What a mess. What a shame. What could have been. But now Twitch is here to save the day yet again. You'll finally be getting paid for all your hard work.
What's up, people? Hotep Jesus, we are back.
That Hotep Jesus dude.
That's a sound bite from Tariq Nasheed. Thank you for that sound bite, sir. I don't think he knew I was going to turn that into a sound bite. But that's how we do. We transmute energy on this channel. You send me negative, I'm going to turn it into a positive. I am
That Hotep Jesus dude.
Say my name again, Tariq.
That Hotep Jesus dude.
Say my name.
That Hotep Jesus dude.
They love talking about me. What's up, people? Welcome to the channel. We got a lot to get into today. Yes, you can follow me on Twitch. You saw the commercial live. Before I got on here, you can follow me on Twitch. All my spicy takes will be on Twitch. I need you to follow me on Twitch. This is for the elite. This is for the creme de la creme of society. So if you broke, it's probably not the best platform for you, or it could be, depending on how crafty you are, because, well, you get paid for your engagement. So if you can create content that gets engagement, well, you get paid for it immediately. You don't wait. Hit your wallet on every like, every retweet or branch, as the term they use on that platform. All of that content, comment, all of that, you get paid for. Somebody follows you. Yeah, I get a notification that says, yep, you just earned 8 cents. Thank you. Appreciate it. Lovely, lovely platform. Men of Order is our official sponsor for all things men and masculinity. So please visit menoforder.com. Wonderful articles over there. To tell your mother, to tell your brother, to tell your uncle, to tell your nephew, to tell your son to go read menoforder.com. Syscoin has just released their new NFT platform. This NFT platform is called Luxy. Go check that out, Luxy. And maybe even speculate on the coin. I don't know. I checked out the chart. Chart looks good. It's not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go purchase. I'm just saying I like it. Got to snatch me a couple of those. Shout out to the Syscoin team. Great people. Syscoin and Switch are sponsoring HotepCon. HotepCon is August 11th to the 13th. Las Vegas, Nevada, the Ahern Hotel. Featuring Uncle Hotep and myself, Hotep's Been Told You, Ken and Hotep. And we also have special guests Sonny Johnson, Kim Klasick, Project Rook, and the largest female crypto influencer on the planet, Crypto Wendy O. Crypto Wendy O would be there. Let's get into today's subject matter. Enough of the bills, enough of the business. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. So we're going to start off with the video. Let's just make this easy. Let's just start off with the video. We're going to read the article. We got to watch the video. We have to read an article from Fox News on this. And then we're going to have to read a Yahoo Finance article about the Fed rate increase. So I'm going to go ahead and press play now. Let me just make sure the audio is okay. Okay, audio's unmuted. Let's go.
Next week's a very big week for the economy. So I read the CEA blog. Is the White House trying to change the common definition of a recession because next Thursday the GDP numbers coming out are going to show that we've been in a recession?
So put that on your calendar. Put that on your calendar. Next Thursday, the numbers come out.
So let me say this, the strength of our labor market, along with the other economic factors, is what we generally see in a recession, or even what is not what we generally see in a recession.
Whoa, sound like a Freudian slip. Sounded like a Freudian slip. Let's bring it back. It sounded real Sigmund. That was one of those Sigmund moments.
Coming out are going to show that we've been in a recession.
So let me say this, the strength of our labor market, along with the other economic factors, is what we generally see in a recession.
Bingo! You got it right the first time, sweetheart. You got it right the first time, sweetheart.
Or even what is not what we generally see in a recession, or or even a pre-recession, because we're seeing the strength of the economy and the labor market. So that's really important to note there, because those are.
We're gonna break down those words she just stated in the Fox News article. Don't worry.
Key elements as we talk about that, as folks keep asking us about that. So Americans across the country are back to work at a historic level.
Americans are back to work at a historical level. Think about that statement. It's almost oxymoronish. Back to work at a historical level? Back to work? Like a return to something? How can returning to something be historical? It's not historical. You're reverting back to a previous state. Historical would be to ascend to a greater state. People are back to work because you shut down the economy. People are back to work because you shut down 500,000 businesses. Small businesses. I believe those might even be black businesses, but much of black business has been destroyed. Small business has been eradicated. The middle class has been eradicated. Classic Marxism. Which is going to say at a historic level. Yeah, it's historic. Because when was the last time y'all decided to shut down a whole economy? Tell people they can't go to the gym. Tell people they can't go to the church. And then turn around and claim that things are roaring to historical heights, but really things are just trying to get back to normal, whatever normal might even be. I don't even think the previous state was normal because of the way that economic policy is handled in this country. Let's continue.
21 states, the most in history, have unemployment rates at or below 3%.
So, I'm not sure if this is in the Fox News article. I can't remember, but let's break that down. That number's bullshit, okay? I don't know if there's a better way to say it. The unemployment number. Unemployment is the number of people who have successfully filed and gained unemployment. Okay, that means you went down to the office or you filed online and your government, your local government, state government, whoever, said, yes, you qualify for unemployment. Now, if you go down there or file online and they tell you, look, you do not qualify for unemployment, well, guess what? You're not in those statistics for unemployment levels. Unemployment levels deal with people who have filed for unemployment, not the total number of people who are unemployed. Now, I spoke to somebody while I was in Austin, Texas, hanging out with Alex Jones and the gang. I spoke to someone, and he told me he left New Jersey because he was a fitness instructor. They told him he was a non-essential business. They told him he did not qualify for unemployment. So he left the state. Do you think he's included in those numbers? You know what I mean? People are not included in these numbers. So you say unemployment is at historical lows because everybody's being turned down when they go to the office. If you turn down the applications, well, yeah, you can keep unemployment numbers low. You rejected everyone. Chat, am I wrong? Please, somebody correct me. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Please do it right now if I am wrong. Is that not what the unemployment numbers mean? Huh? What do you think happens when they start calculating the CPI? You don't think that's another bullshit ass number? Wait till we dive into this Fox News article. Let's let her finish.
That is an important number to note. 14 states are now at their lowest unemployment rates since this series began in 1976. And last month, the unemployment rate was a new low, and now at their lowest unemployment rates since this series began in 1976. And last month, the unemployment rate was a new low in 8.
They look at how many times she got to look down at the paper. They say, look, just run these numbers off, sweetheart. Just run these numbers off and you'll be fine. Go out there and run these. And she's doing her best. When your job is to cover for the Swamp Thing, well, it's not quite the easiest thing trying to hide this Swamp Thing crawling around with a underbelly that's completely rancid. It's a difficult job. Nobody's going to ever be able to do it like Jen Psaki did it. Professional communist she is.
So again, the strength of our labor market, along with the economic indicators.
Strength of the labor market and economic indicators. We're going to go through that in the Fox News article.
Is not what we generally see as we talk about recession or even pre-recession.
So basically what she's saying is those stats dealing with the labor market is not generally what we see in a recession. And that's technically true, right? Normally, you don't see an increase in people acquiring unemployment, right? You no longer see that. You usually see a decline in a recession, but the only reason why we have an incline in unemployment is because the economy is trying to return back to some normalcy, trying to come back to equilibrium, homeostasis. We're trying to get back to normal. This is the new normal, right? Isn't that what they said? So this new normal is basically jobs are just coming back to zero. Let's just say they're coming back to zero. They were in the negative. We were in the red because everybody was shut down to go home. And that's abnormal. It's abnormal to have a United States economy completely shut down, damn near, right? That's abnormal. So when things recover, they're coming back to zero. They're not going from 0 to 10 or 0 to 1. They're coming back to zero. But what they try to do is they try to say that because there's this rate of increase in employment, that is not usually what you see in a recession. And she's correct. However, they're excluding the fact that they are coming out of the red. They are in negative integers. When they are calculating this rate of increase, they are using negative integers because the amount of total jobs is way below normalcy. So she's technically correct. And I'm going to show you something funky in the article too in just a moment. Hold on.
The growth of the job for the 3-month trend, the growth of job growth in the U.S. is shrinking, is decreasing, and 7.5 million people, a growing number, are multi-jobs, meaning they have to work more than one job to afford a living. So is jobs really a good indicator then?
Look, here's what I would say. We've always talked about the strength of our economy. We've always talked about how historic it's been, and we've always talked about the transitioning, right?
Yeah, you guys always talk about it. That don't make it true.
The transitioning to more stable and steady growth. And so to your point about the job growth there, this is what we have been kind of stating for the past several months. Look.
Yes, you've been stating it. Again, does not make it real or true.
You know, the economy created one.
Dr. Kaba Kamene says something prolific, or he usually says this a lot. And he says power is being able to dictate someone else's reality. So they tell you something and you believe it. That is power, dictating someone else's reality. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to dictate what reality is. But the rest of us here who live outside of the matrix, well, we know the truth. We have taken the red pill.
1.1 million jobs in the second quarter. And around 375 jobs per month. Those are historic numbers. Those are, if you think about the 1.1 million jobs.
Historic. Historic. If you repeat the lie enough, people will start to believe it.
We are back to where we were at pre-pandemic levels. So that is what we see as strength of the economy. Again, we're going to.
That is what we see as strength of the economy. You see that? And that's technically true. That's what they're trying to purport what that is. Again, distorting what we might believe is reality. We're trying or attempting to, or as a side effect.
At pre-pandemic levels. So that is what we see as strength of the economy. Again, we're going to transition into a more stable and steady growth. And so we're going to continue the work that
stable and steady growth. She says that a lot.
The president has set out to do to make sure that we continue to deliver for the American people when it comes to the economy. All right.
All right, let's go to the Fox News article. For people that want to support the channel, you can super chat. Or Cash App, $, Jesus. Super chat if you want to ask a question or comment, and I'll read it off. Let's go to the Fox News article. So here, Fox News reports, says Karine Jean-Pierre slammed for claiming economic indicators don't show a recession or even a pre-recession. A recession is typically measured by 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. So I think first, I promise people a little bit of education here. And I believe that GDP is going to be, to roughly define it, loosely define it. It's basically, the size of your economy within its borders. And GNP is the size of the economy outside of its border. Okay, it's loosely its definition. I can pull it up on Investopedia if you guys want me to, but that's loosely what it means. So when you're dealing with GDP and GNP, basically the difference is borders, right? So you see, got GDP, gross domestic product, and that is, how much are the people that are actually inside the country producing, right, within its borders, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's continue. Let's go down here and let's read this article. It says White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre faced backlash Monday for saying that economic indicators do not show that we are in a recession or a pre-recession. Now, let me stop right there because I had a family member over for a bit of gathering, and we got to talking, and we got to talking economics. And I told this individual that we were in the middle of a recession, and he said, hold on now. He said, we are not in a recession. A recession is a decline in the economy. And I said, yeah, so you don't think we're in a recession right now? And he says, no, that's based upon the GDP numbers, and the GDP numbers haven't come out yet. So now I'm like, wait, so we're waiting for them to give us the GDP numbers to know whether we're in a recession or not? We're not going to look around us. We're not going to use our own eyes, our own common sense, our own reality, our own experiences. We're not going to witness the experiences of others. We're not going to see that a bishop gets robbed for his jewelry during Sunday service. Huh? This is not signs of a recession. What are you talking about? And it's election year. I said, okay. But it let me know how people think. People really are waiting for Forbes to say these things, or they're waiting for the GDP numbers to come out. We covered this on Crypto Wendy O's channel. They said the exotic dancers said, yo, there's a decline in our clientele at the club. To me, that is the best indicator of a recession. What are the exotic dancers saying? Are you making more money? What are the OnlyFans girls saying? Are you making more money or less money than last year? Because if the sex industry is making less money, we are in a recession. Okay? That is the best indicator. Remember where you heard it first. Hotep's been told you. What is the sex industry? Because everybody splurges on their sex. The men can't control themselves. And what happens? If we see a decline there, we know, well, if they won't spend to get a nut, well, they're probably not spending other places either. It's going to be a decline in the economy. So again, we're waiting for Forbes to tell us that there's a recession. But so GDP numbers come out next Thursday. So let's see. Maybe they say there's no recession. Maybe the numbers say we have been in a recession. We will see. And I might buy some puts right before the numbers come out. Anyway, let's go back. Typically, 2 quarters of negative GDP growth indicate the United States is in a recession. This is the metric traditionally used as a red line to determine whether recession exists. However, the White House has trotted out a slew of officials to dispute the definition of a recession. Well, of course they do, right? Of course they do, because they are preying on the ignorance of the sheep. I'm going to show you real fast. It says, at the White House press briefing, Jean-Pierre was asked about President Biden's statement that we are not going to be in a recession. I don't know who told Biden to say that stupidness. She responded. So if you look at the economic indicators as the president was laying out, if you look at the labor market right now, we're seeing historic unemployment. If you look at low unemployment at 3.6, if you look at the average amount of jobs that have been created, it's about 400,000 per month. Those indicators do not show that we are in a recession or even in a pre-recession. So here's the funky thing about words. You have to pay attention to words. You got to learn how to read the media, okay? And after somebody says something, it's probably good to get a transcription of it and read the transcription so you can really digest their words. Because when you listen to it, the monkey mind has to process it. And usually the monkey mind does a poor job of processing. You need to use conscious mind. So when you can slow it down and read it, you can see what she's really saying here. And what she's saying is actually nothing, frankly, inaccurate. So look, it says here, so if you look at the economic indicators as the president was laying out, and the operative word here is if, if. Okay. What if we don't look at these indicators? What if we look at reality, Jean-Pierre? What if we look at that? What if we don't? But that's the thing. They say if, okay? And then it says right here, if you look at the labor market. Right now, we're seeing historic unemployment. If you look at low unemployment at 3.6. If you look at the average, and they say average amount of jobs that have been created. First of all, we know averages are not usually too reliable when we want to do math with big numbers. Anyway, especially when we're dealing with, different societies. Wyoming is nothing like New Jersey, okay? Those indicators do not show that we are in a recession or even in a pre-recession. Those indicators, keyword, those indicators. So if they're looking at that, meaning that, hey, usually we look at the GDP to determine if we're in a recession, but let's not look at that. Let's look over here. Everybody, take your attention away from that and look over here. Don't look over there. Just ignore that. No. Stop it. Look over here. It's classic distraction. Classic distraction. A clip of her response was shared and mocked on Twitter. Let me help. Two straight quarters of negative growth equals recession. We're there, wrote Buzz Patterson, a conservative columnist. Right here. She says, Spencer Brown, the Biden White House doesn't want you to think GDP is an economic indicator, wrote Spencer Brown, managing editor of Town Hall. Now, he could have stopped right here before GDP. What he could have said is the Biden White House doesn't want you to think. I'm going to say that 2 more times. The Biden White House doesn't want you to think. He could have stopped right there. The Biden White House doesn't want you to think. That's how I feel. That's how I'm interpreting all this. They don't want you to think. What they're saying is, ignore that. Don't learn what GDP is. Don't go based upon traditional economic measures. Look over here. Just follow the little birdie over here. Don't look over there. Fox News contributor Guy Benson tweeted at this briefing, she refused to define recession. Will she explain what a pre-recession is, since she raised it, or not? 2 back-to-back quarters of negative GDP growth, said Fox News contributor Katie Pavlich. Town Hall senior editor Matt Vespa called it a pants on fire lie. Inflation Driven in part by President Biden's COVID-19 spending and energy policies and the Federal Reserve printing money is at a 40-year high. Many are concerned that the Fed's raising of interest rates, we're going to get into that shortly, coupled with Biden's energy policies, will push the U.S. into a recession. Biden's approval rating is at a record low with only 19% support from Hispanics. Pundits speculate this will hurt Democrats in the 2022 midterm elections. We're going to go into... Thank you, William DX, for the super chat. If anybody would like to support the channel, ask a question, make a comment, I'll read it out. Super chat me. Also, you can support the channel. $ Hotep Jesus. Okay. Fed to inflict more pain on the economy as it readies big rate hike. Okay. This is published yesterday. Now, it says right here, inflict more pain. So, okay. So, if the people at Yahoo Finance, Rich Miller, if he knows that this is a bad idea, why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? If Thomas Sowell knows, chapter 16 of Basic Economics knows, I always talk about it. If he knows, why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? If I have documented in my book, hold on. I literally documented it. Literally. It's literally documented in my book. Patriot. The Patriot Report. Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. It's literally in here. I documented, like I have a track record of them doing this. Chapter by chapter, I have a track record of them doing this. Panic of 1819. Are you serious? And inside of these chapters, what you'll notice is, like when we talk about the first bank, the second bank, or the Currency Act, what you'll notice is there's always a panic around these times. And I listed the track record. I wrote about it. I did the research, sources and everything. Like straight up sources and everything. They always do this. This isn't like, oh, this is the first time we're going to raise. No, they've been doing this since damn near the beginning of the country. I have a track record of it. So why are they doing it again? Why are they doing it? And what happens? And what happens to the economy? What happens to the economy? What happens to people's pockets? What happens to the poor? What happens to the lower class? What happens to the middle class? Let's get back to the article. The Federal Reserve will probably have to inflict much more pain on, have to. Now he's saying you have to. Oh man, you were doing so good in the beginning, bro. You were doing so good, Rich. Will probably have to inflict much more pain in the economy to get inflation under control. Now I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to tell you my economic theory. My economic theory is don't touch it. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone. You done messed it up enough. You know what I'm saying? That's $25,000 out packet and you rubbing it. And you rubbing it. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone. We gonna get this professionally clean. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. That's my economic policy as far as I'm concerned. Don't do nothing, Fed. Go home. Take a break. Go on vacation. Matter of fact, you're suspended. Go home. Just stop. Just stop. We'll call you when we need you. That's my economic policy. Too simple? What do you think? What does the chat think? Too simple? Comments. What do you think? Too simple or good enough? Growth is already slowing in response to Fed's repeated interest rate increases. So Yahoo Finance is saying growth is slowing, and that's not what Jean-Pierre said. With the housing market softening, technology companies curbing hiring and unemployment claims edging up. But with inflation proving persistent at a 4-decade high, a growing number of analysts say it will take a recession, a markedly higher joblessness. She just told us we good. Unemployment. She just told us that. To ease price pressures significantly. A Bloomberg study of economists this month put the probability of a downturn over the next 12 months at 47.5%, up from June, up from 30% in June. We have to curb things domestically to help us get where we want to go on inflation, said Bank of America chief U.S. economist Michael Gapin, whose forecasts a mild recession starting in the second half of 2022. Okay, so that was last month. All right, I'm not going to read the rest of this because, like, why? It's just full of garbage. It's just full of garbage. It's just full of garbage. If I were to continue reading this, you would just hear me go on and on about a bunch of garbage. Hogwash. We have to curb things domestically to help us get where we want to go on inflation. It's absolutely preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. When you're in a recession, the last thing you want to do is raise interest rates, and that's according to Thomas Sowell, Basic Economics, Chapter 16. Go get you a copy now. Again, go get a copy of my book, The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. What's happening right now? Are we not in the midst of a war? Is there not a war going on right now in Ukraine? Huh? AKA old Russia. So they got a track record of this. I have the track record right here. If you want to know the track record of your central banking system, I have it right here. Get your copy. You will see the patterns. And then you will look at the news today and you'll be able to say, oh, I know what's coming. I know what's next. So I promise people I'll show them how to get rich in Brandon's economy today on this stream. And it's very simple. I heard a brother the other day. I was in a space and I mentioned Bitcoin. And the brother said to me, I wouldn't suggest Bitcoin to people. Bitcoin has just went down to $20,000. And I just didn't respond to him. I didn't want to respond at that point because the reason why I didn't want to respond to that point was because the room was about reparations and I didn't want to get into an investing conversation. Even though it was necessary, I was just like, whatever. Because just the fact that they were talking about reparations in the manner in which they were talking about reparations was giving me a headache. So, but whatever. So anyway, Bitcoin. So the ignorance of this individual. What are the basic laws of investing? Very basic. The most rudimentary academic law of investment is buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. People who get wrecked in investing buy high and they sell low. So what they did was they bought the top of Bitcoin. Bitcoin crashed and they panic sold on the way down. Right? Just poor investing practices. You buy when something is down, when it crashes. Okay. Another book I'm going to suggest, Benjamin Graham, Intelligent Investor. You got to get a copy. Very boring read. I think the last 200 pages might be for reference purposes, but you got to read the first maybe 400. You got to read those. You just need it. It's basically a nice economic pattern for you to understand and how the rich get money. And it's in a recession that you get rich. It's in a recession that most people, most of the middle class gets wrecked, right? So because I did research, and I've been watching these patterns and I know how these things happen, and I read Intelligent Investor, and I wrote a book on these patterns. I hoarded some cash, not much, a little bit of cash, to make sure I can plow into my portfolio during a recession that I knew was coming specifically this year. Go look at my channel last year. I said, we're going into a recession next year. We're going into a recession next year. Everybody knew this. The numerologists knew this. Everybody knew this, right? And there's a certain reason for that, but we're not going to get into that because I know you guys get all spooked out if we start talking about numerology and astrology, but whatever. So everybody told you this, right? We all told you this. So here we are. We are in a recession. What do you do in recession? Housing prices crash. This is when the rich are buying. This is when the rich are buying foreclosures, cheap property. They're buying low. And then what happens is when the market recovers, you're going to 4x your money, Some people are 10x their money, depending on the type of investments you make. If you buy Bitcoin, you're going to definitely, I can't say definitely because it's not financial advice. I would suggest, I personally believe that I will see great returns if I were to plow down into my portfolio on Bitcoin right now. It just seems sound. I said to somebody, I said, talk to me about the price of Bitcoin in 2024. And that's the next halving. But aside from that, does anybody know why 2024 is a significant year? Well, it's the next election year and Trump's coming back. And after Trump wins, the economy is going to roar. And if you bought now in the recession, you are going to be very happy in 2024. Warren Buffett says this. He says, don't buy any security you don't expect the whole, I think he said for 10 years or for life or something like that. So, when I buy securities, I don't really care what the price is tomorrow or yesterday. I just keep buying because I plan on holding this till I'm 50. I'll reevaluate my portfolio at 50. Now, have I made some trades here and there? Well, Twitter, I definitely dumped when it spiked after the Elon news. I dumped it. I just knew that was the top there. And then I can get in low. It's been crashing, and I know I can get in lower. So I'll get back in on Twitter low again. But other than that, I don't make frequent trades unless I hear the announcements, right? If I hear an announcement like that, okay, I might make a move. But other than that, I'm just chilling. And I think that's the sound way to hop in investments. And then what'll happen is people hit you with the gloom and doom and you won't invest during this time period. And the rich will invest. And then people say, well, the rich keep getting richer. It's like, well, because they knew to invest. Now, it'd be even, see, it's different when you know that the recession is coming because you could have planned for it. So what happens is the economy's doing great, right? Boom, boom cycle. So everybody's spending their money, right? They're not saving. Savings is what people do during recession. Now people are like, oh, now I want to save. No, you're supposed to save in a boom cycle and spend on investments in the recession, in the trough, in the valley. That's what you're supposed to do. But the middle class hasn't been disciplined. They haven't been taught the rules of money. Many of them. I'm not going to say all of them, but many of them. So everybody spends in the boom cycle, then a recession hits and people go, oh my God, this hurts so bad. I used to be like that until I went and I did the research, wrote the book on it, and I go, times are great right now. I'm not going to spend money. I'm going to save it. I didn't even go aggressively into my investment portfolio. I was like, give me cash. All cash. And I sat on cash, and it hurt me because I'm a frequent buyer, a high frequent buyer into my portfolio. But I'm like, if I know a recession is coming 2022, I have to discipline myself. And here's the other thing with investing. Once you come up with an investment strategy, you have to discipline yourself to it. And it hurt because I'm like, oh, I see these stocks going up all through the boom cycle. I see them going up. I'm like, oh, I should have got in. And I said, no, we said we are going to buy in a recession. We're going to buy in a recession. I had to sit around, and sure enough, 2022 came around, and boom, I seen the market fall, and I said, okay, whew, I did the right thing. But you have to know these things. And if you know the cycles, if you know what the Fed is going to do before the Fed does it and how your economy is going to be affected by it, you can make plans, so on and so forth. You won't get wrecked in a recession. I'm going to go into super chats now. I think I gave a good enough education to people who needed it. And maybe it's a refresher for other people. So William DX, thank you for the super chat. He said, I've been saying this admin uses words in the utmost evil way you can. The ability for humans to use words is intrinsically evil. Imagine if we only had body language and could not speak. Interesting point there. Yes. Be careful of the language of things. We'll be back tonight with a gentleman for an interview at 11 p.m. Hotep hours. So I hope to see you guys there. Hotep and Bill.